We are your local election headquarters here at News 13, along with the Bay County League of Women Voters, and together tonight we bring you a date to get informed before you go to the polls in just a couple of weeks. And joining me tonight is the Bay County League of Women Voters President, Cecile Schoon. Good to see you.
Thank you so much for having us and partnering.
Tell us about the League of Women Voters and why you promote these events.
Well, we're all about education. We believe that an informed citizen is an excited citizen, and we want to increase the voter turnout.
All right, well, we're looking forward to it. I know it's traditional for the League to present these types of events.
We're nonpartisan. We don't take sides. We just want to present information to the citizens so they can make their choices.
All right, very good. We appreciate you, and we appreciate the partnership. Now, when we come back in just a couple of minutes, we will begin the debate tonight, the forum, with candidates who are vying for State Representative District 6. We hope you'll stay with us. Welcome back, everybody, to a special edition of News 13 Live at 5. Tonight, our forum, roll the prompter, please, will cover statewide District 6 representative. I need the prompter back. Thank you. District 6 and U.S. Congress District 2. News 13 and the League of Women Voters each have a questioner for both races. The questioners will introduce to you in a moment. We'll have 30 seconds to ask their questions. The candidates will then get 1 minute to respond. Our timekeeper tonight is League member Josie Bryan. She is down front here with us. All candidates will get the same question, and the order was determined tonight how they will be on your ballot when you go to vote. Now let's rotate. We'll begin with you. Jay Trumbull, Republican. Jamie Shepard, Democrat, and Henry Lawrence, Green Party. Good to see each and every one of you tonight. By the way, this is the race that Representative Jim Matronis currently holds, but he is termed out. All right, and our questioners tonight, Elizabeth Trentinelli from the League of Women Voters, Gulf Coast State College, professor in
political science.
Political science, of course. And our weekend anchor, Corey DeBrania. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
All right, ladies, we're going to begin with Elizabeth, a question, and we will start with Mr. Trumbull.
Great.
Okay, good evening. Given our community's dependence on clean, fresh water and the wetlands of purifier waters, do you believe the local governments should be empowered to protect those resources? And if you believe so, please describe what kinds of protections you would like to see used. Or if not, if you don't believe so, then please explain the basis of your belief.
Sure. Well, that's a very good question. In our small business, we deal with clean water all the time. We understand what a precious resource that is, and how we, as not just business people, but as people who live in Bay County, how important it is to make sure that we continue to have clean drinking water and good resources for future. As far as allowing the local governments to take control of that, I would rather see us as a community get together and be a part of making sure that we do have the clean water source, rather than putting more emphasis on maybe a tax or a fee that local governments might be putting on the constituents or the people of Bay County to make sure that we do this. But I think as a community we should be involved in this, rather than pursuing a tax or pushing a tax on us for that.
All right, thank you very much. Ms. Shepard, can you answer the same question?
Yes. Thank you for having us this evening. The importance of clean water we don't have to go any further back than the BP oil spill to know the devastating effects of even the perception of polluted water. That really makes Amendment 1 on our ballot this time that will protect clean water very critical. I would support, if I'm elected, I would support allowing the legislature to delegate part of the responsibility on those critical water protections to the local communities. I'm not a big fan of one-size-fits-all legislation, but if we're going to have this and have it passed, we're going to have an unparalleled opportunity to have funds to be able to protect our clean water and park preservation at the same time. And I'd like to see local communities at least have input on how we do that.
All right, and Mr. Lawrence, you want to answer the same question?
We have a water management district already that protects the watershed above us here in northern Bay County. The county also cleans water that comes out of Deer Point Lake and puts it in the pipeline to us, and Panama City also has a stage where they treat it. So the government's already involved in the water. Culligan Water obviously is a local wholesale retailer that takes water out and resells it. Hence the maybe not, trying to keep the government out of the water business. I think the government needs to be in the water business big time, because you know what? The most valuable resource we have in our nation and on the planet is fresh drinking water. That's a fact, folks. I mean, you know it. How about some clean drinking water coming out of that tap, eh? You don't want to taste it like it came through old pipes before you ever got it. So I think the government needs to stay involved in the water business. I think we had a big problem a while back with Congress of 100 up in Tallahassee. We're trying to export our water south. That should never happen. We need to protect our water resources. Thank you.
All right, very good. All three of you kept to your time. That's an excellent start to the News 13 League of Women Voters Political Forum. We'll be back with more Q&A. Don't go away. Welcome back, everybody. Great to have you with us tonight for our special election coverage. We move on now to our second question for candidates for Florida House District 6. And Corey DeBrignier, you get the next question, please.
Okay, here's my question. Governor Scott's made a big push towards making college education more affordable. However, short of that, the country now has more than $1 trillion in student debt and not enough jobs for those drowning in debt. How would you address this issue?
Ms. Shepard, we'll start with you.
Unfortunately, the feds have kind of taken over this issue and sort of limited what we can actually do about it. But I'd like to at least see us really encourage job growth. That would be a good thing to start with. But we also need to be able to do a workaround. And I think for the state to do that, we've got a chance to use some of the excess funds that we have in our budget this time to, if we have students who have a debt and are willing to work in a critical industry, for example, for students who are aspiring to maybe volunteer sort of their time to work in local governments where they don't have resources, that could be a very viable way to help reduce the debt by sort of giving them time and service. I mean, it's an idea to at least float about.
All right, very good. Mr. Lawrence, same question for you, sir.
Student debt. We need to have some debt forgiveness is one thing we need to have. And I know in Europe, in fact, in Germany, college is free. So those are things to think about too. In fact, the land-grant colleges years ago were free. There was a time you could go to college in the United States and it was free. So there's a lot of work to be done to make college tuition more affordable. There's a lot of work to be done to forgive the trillions of dollars worth of debt that's owed to to different organizations. I mean, I wish those student loans had like a 2% interest rate. That would help a lot versus 6 or 8 or 10. So, you know, with that being one of the most severe credit problems in the country, even worse than credit card debt, big problem, needs to be fixed. We need to address it as much as we can at the state level, as much as is humanly possible within our own state college system. And like I said, college tuition should be free as much as is humanly possible. That way more people will get a good education, and hopefully somewhere down the line we'll have some jobs in this country to put everybody to work. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Trumbull?
Yeah, so I think that's a very good question. But I believe it needs to start a little bit farther back when people are in high school. We need to have places, opportunities for guys and girls to look at what the actual implications would be for student loans. I would like to see counselors go talk with these students who are willing to have student loans or that need to go get student loans to talk about the ramifications in the future. But I think to really put some emphasis on the back end of that is that we need to have more people who are willing to invest in their small businesses. And I think we get that done by reducing regulation, reducing red tape, so that people are able to go out and create those jobs that these people who have debt can begin to start their careers and lower that debt some more. But I think just allowing for people to go back and have a counselor talk to them on the front end to understand the unforeseen consequences that they could possibly gather in the future.
All right, very good. All right, we're back with more questions for the District 6 representative candidates in just a moment. Stay with us here on News 13. Welcome back to a special edition of News 13 Live at 5, your local election headquarters. We continue our forum tonight with our final question for State Representative District 6 candidates. And for our question, we turn to political science professor from Gulf Coast State College, Elizabeth Trentinelli.
Thank you. In 2013, the Florida legislature voted to reduce the Florida Insurance Commissioner's power to negotiate or to refuse insurance companies' rate hikes on Florida citizens' health care plans. Since Florida's health insurance rates are rising beyond those of other states, should our state law be amended back to allow the insurance commissioner more flexibility to negotiate or refuse those rate hikes? Please explain why or why not.
Mr. Lawrence, you go first. 1 minute.
Insurance rates. Oh boy. We all love to make those payments, don't we? Fortunately, we haven't had any major storms in the last 10 years, but that doesn't mean we won't have them all next year, and we'll be back in the same shape we were, in 2005 when we got hit, 2004, 2005. So I sincerely believe we need to have as much control within the state government over insurance rates as humanly possible to keep people's costs down, because there's people who pay more in insurance on their homes than their house payment is even in some areas. So it's out of hand, but we also need to make sure we don't continue to build homes in places that are, in danger of being taken out by high tides and storm surge. So there's a lot of work to be done. I think controlling the rates and the prices of insurance in Florida are extremely important, and it's something we need to look at, because insurance companies, when things are good, they're making a lot of money. When they have to pay up, it hurts them. So we've got to be able to work with them and price insurance accordingly.
All right, right on the money. All right, could you repeat the question for us, please?
Sure. 2013, the legislature voted to reduce the Florida Insurance Commissioner's power to negotiate or refuse insurance companies' rate hikes on Florida citizens' health care plans. Since Florida health insurance rates are rising beyond those of other states, should state law be amended back to allowing our insurance commissioner more flexibility to negotiate those rates?
Yeah, I believe we do need to make sure that our healthcare costs stay low. We have a very aging society in the state of Florida, so we have to make sure that we are conscious of that. One thing I'm not a fan of and not a proponent of is expanding Medicaid, and I think that's one way that folks think that we can draw down on this, and that's not, I don't believe, the way we need to do that, because it's attached to Obamacare, and taking almost 33% of our total budget and adding more to that, it's difficult to be able to pay for other things in our budget. So we have to make sure that we stay focused on, yes, keeping healthcare costs low, but not opening up to obtaining things like Obamacare and allowing that to take hold of our state budget.
All right, Jamie Shepard?
I would disagree with Jay on this issue. I think accepting the Medicaid expansion might actually help us in this, to be able to control the rising healthcare costs. We also need to be vigilant about weeding out fraud in Medicare claims and Medicaid claims. And we have to have boots on the ground to be able to do that. And if we can fund that, at least in part, with Medicaid expansion funds, all the better. But our insurance commission is the elected official who is actually empowered by us to be our watchdog. And if we through special interest concessions have weakened that authority, we're the ones who are going to pay for that. And it's incumbent upon the state to be able to maintain some control, weed out bad actors, work on curbing fraud, and make insurance as affordable as it can be for all citizens of the state of Florida.
All right, very good. And that's the final question. Thank you very much. Jay Trumbull, Republican, Jamie Shepard, Democrat, and Henry Lawrence, Green Party. They are looking for your votes on November 4th. Don't leave me just yet, Mr. Lawrence. Definitely need House District 6 representative. So listen to them tonight, and this will be replayed on mypanhandle.com a little bit later in the evening when the show is over, in case they missed it. And thanks again to our questioners, Corey Goodnia from News 13, our weekend anchor, and Elizabeth Trantinelli, a political science professor at Gulf Coast State College. Good job, ladies. Thank you very much.